MIL called our pediatrician. First time posting here. Have loved reading everyone else's drama. It's comforting to know you're not alone. Typical MIL stuff. Entitlement, overly critical, some narcissistic traits. Since deciding to get pregnant and have babies the last 2 years with IVF BBs 9mo, her behavior has increasingly spiraled and become more erratic and problematic. She's older, late 70s, and my spouse is her only child. They've always had a fraught relationship. She has received a lot of sympathy at not having grandchildren. Up until a few years ago, we were Team Dink, and was both for and very against us having kids. Some highlights. Sent pretty regular aggressive and borderline abusive emails during my pregnancy accusing us of keeping her from her grandchildren while I was pregnant. When we would share information, she would immediately criticize our choices or complain that she was supposed to decide names, nursery furniture, etc. We had to block her on social media as she would call, text, email if she saw something about the kids or saw someone with the kids and complain/yell about how it was unfair to her. The twins were premature. 3 days after their birth, we invited her to the hospital. She sent an email later complaining that I didn't offer her my seat and haven't sent her enough greeting cards over the course of my marriage. 10 days after delivery, she asked if I had lost the baby weight yet. We had to put her on a no-gift rule, as she would complain that we didn't say thank you good enough. She still tried to sneak gifts in under the guise of not gifts. She told us a few months ago that she is a grandma now, and that's special, and that we aren't treating her like the special grandma she deserves to be treated. After the babies came home from the NICU, we all got COVID. She yelled at us because she left a birthday card on the porch and I didn't thank her appropriately. She has given our address out to her friends to send gifts after we've told her not to. Most recently, and what has pushed us into low contact. We have a 2-week travel rule with the twins. If you've been on a commercial flight, you'll need to wait 2 weeks to see them or come over. They're preemies and it's flu/RSV season. She's a travel bug and won't cancel her plans to see the kids, so she hasn't seen them since Thanksgiving. She asked about visiting and we asked about her travel plans. She pushed back and was vague, so I requested her boarding pass or flight receipt so we could check dates and make plans. You can imagine how it went. Turns out she called our kid's pediatrician, small town, but still. Our ped told her that 5 days with a mask should be fine. Lots of drama ensued. I'm still pretty icked at our DR for what feels like a HIPAA violation, even though I'm sure my MIL was vague and asking in hypotheticals. My MIL of course emailed us and accused us of lying to her about our 2-week rule. When my spouse pushed back, she became super snide. Spouse asked for a break. She's emailed/texted 4 times since then. This was 3 days ago. Thanks for letting me type all this out. Update on ML and creepy stepdad wanting to watch daughter. This is an update from my previous post about my ML asking to come to visit a day early and watch my daughter all day Friday while my husband and I are at work rather than us send her to daycare. Small recap in case you didn't read the last post. MIL has not been allowed to watch my daughter, 2 years old, since she put her in the bed with her when my daughter was a newborn, even though she knew we practice safe sleep. Her husband left an inappropriate comment on my Facebook, and I also will not allow my daughter to be alone around him. They are coming to visit for the weekend and asked to come Thursday instead of Friday so they could watch my daughter all day while we are at work. Husband told her he'd have to talk to me first, and I obviously said absolutely not and told him he needs to handle his own mother. So for the update, my husband called her yesterday, unprompted, and told her that they could not come Thursday and would need to come Friday instead. His mother responded and just said, okay. Then went on a rant about how she worries she'll never get to watch my daughter and my daughter isn't going to know her. My husband stood his ground and told her that since they live 5.5 hours away, there's really no reason they would ever need to watch her. Anytime we see them, they are either visiting us at our house or we are visiting them at theirs, meaning we are always around and would not need a babysitter. She basically ended the phone call upset. I am so glad that my husband enforced this boundary and took care of his mother without bringing me into it. He even complained to me afterwards and told me how he couldn't stand when his mother acted that way, and there's no reason she should ever watch my daughter without us there. She's still coming to visit, but will be coming on her originally planned date of Friday and won't be around my daughter unsupervised. We'll see how she acts on her visit, but glad my husband is backing me up on this. Hi me again. MIL called pediatrician and we went and see. Here's how it's going. February 3rd, spouse emailed MIL and said we are taking a break. We don't want to hear from you. You're not to see the twins until the summer when they're fully vaccinated. If you push back on any of this, it will just make it longer before I have the bandwidth to reconnect with you. Since then, we've heard from her 20 times via email, phone calls, texts, and mailing cards. None have been responded to. They've ranged from love bombing, random tidbits of info, here's a recipe I thought you may like, and questions about our daily goings-ons. Most recently, yesterday, she called spouse and said, and I'm paraphrasing, our communication has hit a new low. I want to talk to you. I'm free after 7 tonight, Thursday, and after 4 tomorrow, today. If you do not get back to me, I will be showing up at your house on Friday, and I know Opie won't like that, so I suggest you call me back and schedule a time to meet with me. Dear spouse did not call her back. She didn't know we were heading out of town, spouse for the weekend and me for the next 6 weeks with the twins. It's a small town, if you remember from my previous post, and we've been sent several screenshots today from her texting friends and acquaintances of ours asking if we are gone for the weekend. Luckily, no one is responding to her. So that's it for now. Our dog sitter is aware. We've been locking our front door and are going to get a camera system installed. Meanwhile, spouse and I are discussing whether we should move. I own 2 small businesses and spouse is a professor at the local university, so not as easy as it could be, unfortunately. Why do MILs lose their minds when they get a grandchild? Mine has been a nightmare since I was 12 weeks pregnant. My baby is now 6 months old, and she's only gotten worse. I've seen so many MIL posts on Reddit, and I swear they all follow the same script. This weekend, while holding my baby, my MIL actually said, "You're my baby. When you're older, I can take you out, and I won't have to ask." Excuse me. It's like she's reading from the grandmother's guide to overstepping boundaries. It's actually funny at how much of a cliché she's becoming. She calls and texts every day, not to help, just to play with the baby. If my husband and I talk about whether he's hungry or tired, she immediately jumps in. No, he's fine, he doesn't need to feed. How would she know? She looked annoyed when my 6-month-old was staring at me instead of paying attention to her reading to him, as if she's personally offended that my baby prefers his actual mother. She even picked my baby up out of his pram when he stirred, and then when he started crying, she refused to give him back to me. These are just a few examples. What's with the entitlement and the constant overstepping? I hurt my MIL's feelings. So here's what happened. My MIL came over to visit, and as soon as she entered, she took off her coat and immediately demanded to hold my baby. Now, the thing is, baby was a bit cranky and I wasn't ready to hand her over. Also, MIL didn't wash her hands yet, and she had just walked in the door. Instead of just passing baby off, I said something like, "You can hold her when I'm ready and when I want you to." My MIL did not take that well and got upset. I guess my wording could have been better, but I wasn't going to just give her the baby without feeling comfortable with it. Fast forward, I did try to let her hold my LO 3 times, but each time my baby screamed and I had to take her back. MIL then muttered, "Oh, so she's a mama's girl," refused to look at me, and said she had to leave. I promise I wasn't making my daughter scream, but maybe she felt mama's bad vibes towards the woman. Oops. I understand I may have hurt her feelings, but I really didn't think I did anything wrong. Also, I don't really care. Just needed to vent, and you'll always get me. I'm done with my in-laws. My husband and I currently live 5 hours away from his parents, and we were in the process of relocating closer to them with our baby. This meant juggling our current jobs, looking for new jobs, buying a house from out of state, and managing the move, all while taking care of our child. I never counted on my in-laws to help, but they insisted on coming and even pressured us to cancel daycare and nanny plans. My husband sided with them, so I obliged. They took care of our baby for 2 weeks, then suddenly walked away without warning, leaving us scrambling. Daycare now has a 6-month waitlist, and babysitters aren't available on such short notice. I was angry and hurt, so I asked for an apology. Instead of taking responsibility, they just said they had good intentions and were only trying to help. as if that erases the mess they left us in. Meanwhile, they expected my parents, who live 25 hours away in another country, to step in and help instead. I'm done with them. Me and my baby, not moving anywhere closer to them, not exposing my baby to the toxic, manipulative, selfish, and irresponsible people. ML wants to reschedule our daughter's birthday party, 2 weeks after invitations were sent out. Be honest but gentle if my annoyance is unwarranted. I'm biting my tongue, but internally I'm pissed. We sent out invitations for our daughter's second birthday party 2 weeks ago. My partner's mother lives in another state. In December, I called her personally to let her know the date we were planning daughter's birthday to make sure that that would be okay for her and that she could come, and she said yes. Today, my partner gets a text from her asking if we can change the party date to a week earlier because flights are half price if she comes a week earlier. I'm pissed for multiple reasons. We already confirmed with her that that week would work and she'd be able to come before we sent out invites. Why would she be checking the prices of flights for other weeks if she already got an invitation? To me, that shows that she looked at the flights for that week and decided that she didn't like them, so we should be able to accommodate her to get her a discount. She is not strapped for money. If this was a real financial thing, it would be a very different story. We sent out invitations 2 weeks ago. We would have to personally call up everybody invited and tell them to disregard the date on the invitation because partner's mother wants it on a different day? And not just a different day, but an entire week earlier when we're already scrambling to get everything planned in time for the week we have set. Prior to even getting the invitations, upon hearing that it would be hosted at our house, she tried to tell us to throw the party at partner's grandma's house, an hour away. So planning a party an hour away, lugging a toddler an hour to and from the location on her birthday, and lugging presents and party things there. Note, his grandparents are super capable of driving. His mother just usually sleeps over there when she visits our state, so it would be easier for her. This is all within the context of her hijacking my baby shower, not coming to daughter's birthday last year, and consistently expecting us to drop everything when she does want to fly up. To his credit, which is making me feel like my annoyance is justified, partner is also annoyed and texted back that we already sent out invites so we can't reschedule the party. He hasn't gotten a response yet. Thoughts? Early edit. We obviously aren't going to change the party date even if she gives us backlash for saying no. I just needed to hear if I'm overreacting for thinking it's unreasonable and to generally vent to the masses before I move on with my life. My MIL wants to take my one child camping and not both my children. My MIL told my husband she doesn't love our second child or has no emotional connection to our child. Since then, I haven't been communicating with her. Last time she texted me was Valentine's Day. I kept the text message very short. She has been communicating with my husband and acting like nothing happened. Last night, she calls my husband and asks if she can take our oldest camping for 5 days. Side note, she tried to do this last summer and brought our child home early by 2 days because she got overwhelmed. Anyway, she asking my husband, he says, "Sure, I was asleep," and doesn't tell me this until today. Immediately, I got irritated because she didn't even include our second child on this camping trip. I brought this up to my husband, and he called her out on it, telling her she can't neglect our second child. And immediately, she got defensive and said, "I would never neglect my grandchild. How could you say that to me when literally 3 weeks ago she told him she doesn't love our second child and doesn't put any effort into the relationship?" And started saying excuses of why she hasn't been able to build a relationship with our second child. Mostly putting all the blame on us for living far. We live an hour away, and that my second child is difficult. He brought up what she said and she just completely denied it. He feels like he is being gaslight. I want my child to have a relationship with their grandma. But why couldn't she suggest even having my second over for one night and we would pick them up, or just have my second come for the day and not sleep over? The campsite isn't far from our home. And I feel like once again she is favoring my oldest and my second is being completely ignored. I don't even know if I want my oldest to go now on the camping trip. Am I overreacting? If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you in the next video.